Familiars, yeah. Usually I keep like a few of them in case there's some red cards somewhere. But the amount, even if we do get them, the amount we get is like almost non-existent. And it'd make more sense to just make more uniques at that point rather than hold a whole bunch of them and then have to click way more times every single time you want to feed your familiars into one. It just takes forever. So yeah, I keep like like two or three, and then for sure that in case that does happen, you immediately have some ready to go, and you probably just get nothing from it. So just rolls to shit. So yeah. So you have more familiars, and the Dawn Warrior is 250, but because the Dawn Warrior was your hyper burn. Yep.
Because it was supposed to be just a bossing mule, because Kali was gonna be my main. Because like I saw Kali, I was like, okay, that's my new main. But then I realized I really like, I love lazy farming on this character, and like it's just kind of brain dead. And for once in my life, I could actually just look at another screen while I'm training. Because usually when I train on Arc, I'd just be watching my rotation, trying to be optimal all the time, and then if I wasn't, watching my cooldowns, seeing if I could be Spectre, Flora. I don't know. It got a little like it started to make me like kind of burn out of farming, and that's like one thing that I just couldn't farm anymore. So popping a WAP didn't feel good. So now I'm on Dawn Warrior because it's like brain dead across the board, and I like that.
Okay. So Arc is dead?
Arc is gonna be like a bossing character.
Okay.
That's why like I have it in the PDF as well, because like it's got so many things on it that I worked on. Like I'm 100% gonna be able to get like 22 stars if I get the mesos. Like I got infinite backups of CRA, like 400 of them, maybe 500.
But which bosses do you want to do with this guy? Like, what is going to be?
I want to bring it potentially someday to up to H Logan, because I know it's still far, but I feel like with the resources I've already poured into it, it just would make sense.
Yeah, you're at what, 24k stat now?
Yeah, and on top of that, I have since I thought it was gonna be my main, and I was kind of impatient before. Every time I'd get my lucid droplets from doing like normal runs,
you
and
buy
then
coins?
when I had enough, yeah, I just buy the coins, and now they're stuck on it. I get 17 coins already on it, so I'm so close to the weapon. And because Nexon loves me, on my second clear of slime, I started running slime not too long ago. They gave me a Guardian Angel ring on it.
Okay, nice.
But that was lucky, but at the same time I was like, hey, that's alright. And then I got the arcane gloves on it from a box from a carry. Because I run with Calamara and other people. And I just got those on my arc instead of getting them on Dawn Warrior. So it is what it is.
Okay,
That's
yeah, if you're gonna do
like,
towards Hard Damien, we'll keep that in mind.
And I recently got my superior ring too.
Okay.
That's so, full soupy that.
A lot of stuff moving at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, but the most of your emphasis and most of your progress that you would want to make would be on the Dawn Warrior. Yeah.
100%. I've thought about for the 17, well, not 17, the SSF. I wanted to get my Dawn Warrior with everything on 17 stars. So I saved up. I have like 10 bill. It's gonna be probably like 15 bill by the end of like till Sunday. I should be able to build it up to 15 bill. I don't know if it's enough for 17 star everything. But I'd like to bring it as close as possible. And if I do bring it to 17 star, I wanted to know, should I just leave CRE at 17 or should I try to push it to 21 stars? I know I'm not gonna push to 22 yet.
Like no, definitely 21. Not. Well, it's like 17, 19, 21, 22 are kind of like the intervals. Could see if you have enough. If you can if you can push them up to 19 first.
Okay.
And then if you have, you have like drop in meso gear already on this guy?
Not yet. And I was gonna do it after Shining Star Force. Get him drop in Meso gear.
Mm-hmm.
I recently did the Tengu on Arc, and now whenever I farm on Arc, I'll just do the I have the quests, not the quest, but the
With
ask, so I can
Reservate?
get wobbed.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and thanks to that, like my farming sessions are getting a bit more profitable than before.
Yeah, nice,
That
nice.
plus Moonbridge, yeah, it's nice because now I get familiars and money, and apparently nodes as well.
Why can't this open it as a fucking... Oh, I have to open that over it. Because it opens as a fucking Bing screen for some fucking reason. Okay.
Yeah, no, the default, the default like opening is like for the PDFs is for some reason gonna be like Bing slash Edge.
Yeah, that's why all the edges were open in my task manager, I realized. Cost, probably safeguard only the last star. 10 or something. No, not that
Yeah,
one.
they start at 0, yeah. They start at 0, by the way. Because I haven't started it yet.
Well, it's gonna be... Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
See, I rolled again on 0 and then the price actually went down. That's how cheap it is in the grand total. But yeah, if you pick like 700 mil per item, and you had, what, 15 bills, so that's technically like 20 items that you could do. So, shouldn't be a problema. You basically double the value of your money during events, so...
Okay.
Allows you to do a whole lot of stuff.
Because I'm trying to get all this 17, and I don't know if between getting 20 and like 19/21 on CRA and just getting my arc 17 star gear as well, because my arc is not fully 17 yet. So I don't know if I should like try to get everything 17 including my arc.
Right.
I don't know which one would give you more gains.
Well, your arc can do slime and everything below now at a decent pace.
Slime is a bit of a struggle, but like slime is easy for me now, so like
yeah,
it takes me like
easy but slow.
20 minutes, so yeah,
okay.
It's easy but slow.
Yeah. Well, the question is, do you want to do slime now that you have the ring? Do you want to just get stronger first and then kind of see how fast it is? Kind of wait until...
Well, I'll still keep doing slime because it's just free money.
Well, it's not free, right? If it takes 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't have enough mules that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like it's 120 something mil, right? It's pretty huge for me.
Yeah, but if you have if you have any other character that can do CRA or something, right? Then one CRA boss is 81 mil, so it's like it's not free. If in the extra 18 minutes you only make 40 mil more, then it's actually quite expensive. So it depends on how many characters you have access to the bosses on.
Yeah, I'm trying to build up a Shadower, and my Phantom's
170.
My Phantom's able to do CRA like up to CPAP. It's not able to do Enlomian yet because its ID is really low.
Okay.
And then the Shadower is just like a work in progress. I'm feeding it node stones whenever I get any right now. And it's either that or sometimes like my Dawn Warrior takes them because the boost nodes are at 60. That changed from the screenshot, so my boost nodes are maxed.
On Dawn Warrior?
My yeah. Oh. So I got my boost nodes on Dawn Warrior for my tri nodes are good. But my my skill nodes, they still need to be like to get up to 30.
Yeah, but there's no rush in that, right? It'll come when it comes.
At least my my crux of damnation is it's 23, so it's
okay.
a decent burst to it.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay.
The numbers are all outdated.
All different.
I just realized, yeah, and the potential on my weapon is legendary now because I threw a bit of I wanted to celebrate level 250, so I kind of just tiered it up.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me like a couple hundred mil. Alright.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know the plan for the arc and the plan for DA is just to be the main?
Yeah.
Dawn Warrior, sorry?
Dawn Warrior isn't even my... Yeah, my DA unfortunately was the first character I built on my account,
Mm-hmm.
and don't like Demon Avenger would be nice to have too, like to build up as a boss mule,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had like terrible experiences when I leveled it up, because I leveled it up before it was good.
Okay. Before Destiny?
Yeah, before Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
It
garbage
was the
then.
first character I leveled on this account. It's called Free from Pay to Win because
Oh yeah.
I had made the transition from reg to
I see.
reboot.
I see.
Turns out it wasn't free because I had to buy backpacks.
Well, you didn't have to, but it's very useful. Yeah.
Arguably on Kali, I think you have to.
But yeah.
'Cause you're
Buck and
dashing around like
Kali
crazy.
probably. Yeah, there's no time for the pets. They're getting dragged all across the map.
Yeah.
What level he is? He's 245 on the Arc and 250 on Dawn Warrior. The
The rest hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
That Kali, I'm planning on getting.
He's not 244.
35.
That's when he made it.
Yeah. Yeah. That Kali, I'm planning on getting 235 at the end of the event.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like it's just gonna give me free stuff on it, and then maybe I can make it into a kind of a boss mule.
Yeah. How are you thinking about boss mules at this point of the game?
I really enjoy making boss mules. Like I enjoy struggling on bosses. When I start them out, like it makes me learn their kit more,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something I really didn't do with Arc before. Like if I had a hard time, if it wasn't killed in 2 minutes, it wasn't possible in my head for
Mm-hmm.
some reason.
Or now,
And
right?
then
'Cause
when
you-
I saw, yeah. And then like when I saw your CRA like your CRA solos with
Mhm.
like all your characters of your Legion, I was like, oh well, I mean, it's doable, and I should probably just focus on doing that.
Mhm.
So now I'm doing this for the characters I enjoy. I started at Buck not long ago because noticed Buck was pretty fun and kind of free too.
Mhm.
It's really low level, but I'm gonna just get it to 200 slowly. And that and my next burn is probably gonna be just Wind Archer for the next hyper burn,
Okay.
because I had a look at Wind Archer. Actually, we had a Wind Archer in that H in our H Luel party,
Mhm.
and it just makes it makes so many bosses just free because they attack the crystal and then
Yep.
get aggro
Marksman
off
has
you.
that as well. You put the dummy down, and then it just
Yeah,
distracts the
and
boss. Yeah.
Marksman was another thing I was thinking because I know Marksman has a very good bossing right now.
Mhm.
So things that have good bossing, like Shadower, Marksman,
Yep.
Buck.
Yes. Bosses
My
that
Mihal
if
is
they pop off early, right, for the bossing. Yeah. Mihal's not bad
yeah.
either.
My Mihal, unfortunately though, is naked because it was a burn and I
Mhm.
kind of burnt out when I did it. Ironically.
You got frozen gear I
Uh,
see at level 205. Yeah. The telltale signs
uh,
of I left my character, came back to a naked dude. Yeah.
yeah, there's a couple of them.
Mhm.
uh, and then my Terra burns are just gonna be for link skills probably. Because
Mhm.
there's a couple link skills I'm missing, like Kinesis, for Legion probably. It's really low. My Blaster's getting up there. It's 98. I could literally just get 2 levels on it and then I'd get the better IED, but my hands started they started hurting when I played
Hurting a bit. Okay.
it.
Uh.
And my friends, not my friends, like just people on the server, like they'll go like, well, you don't have to play it like super optimally to farm with it. I'm like, are you
Mhm.
actually playing Blaster if you're not like blasting?
Yeah, you have to do like the bunker rushes left and right and left and right.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to the Dawn Warrior, do you have any specific plans with that, or are you just trying to?
I'm trying to push it as far as I can. It honestly, sky is the limit right now because I used to be pretty seasonal, but now I'm really making it a. I'm making it not a job, but how do I say it?
An addiction?
No,
A problem?
yeah, it's a bit of an addiction. Yeah, it's Like I'm making it a duty for me to
Okay.
be diligent in my farming and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna try to push it as far as I can. There's event rings that are coming that I'm gonna give it since there's like a Ilfia's ring I want to replace,
Mm-hmm.
and just try to get the drops I can get from dailies and weeklies,
Sure.
and I hopefully get an arcane weapon box.
Yeah,
That'd be real
that's
nice.
the hope.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too soon because you just spent that money getting to legendary on the Absolab. So
Yeah, but
it's
if I get
better
an
to have it
arcane
and
weapon
sit on it.
box,
Yeah, yeah, for
it's
sure.
it's my next senior
Yeah,
next
no, no, you
focus,
should drop it if you get it because it's too early. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too early, Just drop it.
So for
It
the
reminds me.
for the whole account,
Mhm.
because we started the session a little bit, well, not orthodox, I guess. Um,
Mhm.
Usually one of the first questions is like, like how much you play and what you're trying to reach and all that kind of stuff. So we kind of went into that. Um,
Mhm.
Bossing mule wise, but I guess like for your progress, how do you track your progress in the game? Is it new boss and a new character, or
The way I track my progress is a bit of like leveling and just like how much money my account makes per week.
okay? And
So if I see my money go up,
money go.
I'd be like, okay, well
Brrr.
I'm progressing,
Yep.
because like that means I could just dump it on the character and then like
Mm-hmm.
it gets gains. So
Yep.
for me, like I think right now, especially with the way that the game's evolved and is probably gonna evolve again,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think bossing mules is probably gonna be the way to go for me. But at the same time, I'm scared because there's probably gonna be we're probably gonna have to push our boss mules very far because of New Age. So it's a little worry I have. Like if I spend so much time on my bossing mules and then the crystals I get from doing Lomian like stuff all the way up to like N Lomian are not as good. It's a bit of a pain.
What do you mean by pushing further because of new age?
There's been it's probably just rumors, but there's been rumors of the fact that H Lomian is gonna be the next threshold you want to get on the like every mule that you have, because the prices are gonna be much higher for selling those crystals, and then the lower end bosses are gonna have much lower prices on selling crystals.
Oh
Like
yeah, I mean
apparently
they
that's
said
what.
that for this update as well and for before. It's just because Maple Sea got that. Um, Yeah, I guess we never really know if that's going to happen or not. In general, of course, the more bosses you have access to on a character, the more flexible you can be regarding any changes that happen. But
Mhm.
I don't think it's realistic for like 99% of the player base to have like a bunch of hard Lotus and hard Damien mules. So I don't know if they want to do that. It seems
Yeah,
like that would
true.
go
That's.
against the more casual players, right? And it seems like they're actually trying to cater towards the more casual players more with the daily EXP versus the grinding EXP. So I don't know. It's not saying it's not possible, but I'm always very hesitant and very cautious when it's just like a bunch of people spreading a bunch of rumors. Try to
Yeah, true.
stay grounded. You haven't lived 40 C10 emules yet? Yeah, I know. What are you even doing in this game if you don't have 40 lived C10 emules? 12 of those should be Kanas.
40.
Yeah.
12 those are countless.
And I guess other than that, did you have any questions written down? And to which extent are you familiar with the commands?
I don't have that many questions written down. It was really like more of a. It was really just more of like I'm gonna need like a bit of guidance on what to do first.
For
Because the
Shining?
thing
Yeah.
is, I'm really like all over the place when it comes to everything MapleStory.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll start something and then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this instead, and then I
Yep.
regret it because I really wanted to finish that, whatever. So if I get like some kind of roadmap, like if we could set like some kind of roadmap for my account, like milestones,
Mm-hmm.
that for me would like ground me somewhere where like I know I'll progress. Because otherwise, sometimes I'll just like stagnate and like do kind of nothing. Because like I'll think it's me doing something, but I'm just trying to like have fun, and then in the way of trying to have fun by making new characters, I don't bring them far enough because then at some point I get bored or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like that happens a lot for me.
Well, the further you go in the game, the more you have to kind of choose whether you want to grow like vertically or horizontally, right? Whether you want to
Hmm.
progress in having like a giant ass legion and being able to do, big legion mules and a lot of them. Max out on your crystals on bossing mules. Try to get to hard lotus and hard Damien on a bunch of characters. Like these are decisions that actively take time away from your main, but the further you get in the game with your main, the slower the leveling is, and the slower or the harder it is to just jump to the next boss as well. So it'll kind of depend on how much time you're gonna want to spend on grinding and what kind of aspirations you have there. You're familiar with the progression grid in general?
Yeah, I'm familiar with like a lot of commands. I've been using them in the recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the progression grid is something I was familiar with, but I'm kind of like I'm in between mid and late
Mm-hmm.
from what I see, and like there's many places where like I'm really just on one side or the other, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know sometimes where I should progress towards, like what I should get up, like what I should upgrade,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
But it's always like equip related, or
Like yeah, equip related mostly,
okay,
and like Legion as well. Like,
Legion. Yeah.
right now my Legion is 5 point. Like the thing is, I've been told my Legion is 5.5 right now, and because of the fact that I don't have that many characters going into my Legion right now,
Mm-hmm.
I can make very big gains apparently if I just get to 140 on like everything that's not 140
Mm-hmm.
and add characters because I don't I left it on my second page of my Legion grid
Yeah.
uh like the amount of characters I have because we could get up to 42, right?
Well, you can get up to
Okay.
55, but up to 42 characters levels will count towards your total level. Yeah. So if you add 10
Okay.
more characters, you get those to 140, and you get all of these to 140. Then in total, you're adding. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 6, 30, 180, and 1400. That's like 7k Legion basically.
Yeah. And
Power
I'd
and
have the full grid
numbers.
unlocked.
Yeah, and the full grid unlocked. But once you have the full grid unlocked, then you realize how little you can actually fill in the full grid, and that's when the game
Yeah.
will kind of make you force yourself to get to 8k.
Yeah, I definitely do want to get to 8K too. But I know 8K can be a bit of a grind.
A bit,
And
yeah.
this and this event I've been trying to like push one character up like that Dawn Warrior and a
Hmm.
couple of my bossing mules up. But on the next event or like whichever event makes it very like easier to Legion level,
Hmm.
I'll level my Legion for sure.
Yep. Yeah, different events lend themselves for different things, right? If you have a character that you kind of like, but there's no real leveling boost, or there is one,
Hmm.
but you also have gains to make on your main, then that character is just not going to see any play. But if there's a bunch of free, if there is a bunch of free stuff, like level up potions, level selector potions, bonking, that kind of stuff, then your legion will just shoot into this fucking sky if you participate in that. So it'll just depend
Yeah.
what the event wants you to, what kind of push.
Cause that I'm so pissed that I came back to the game just at the end of the momentary event,
Mm-hmm.
cause like I barely got into the bonks. Like I
Yep.
did like 3 days and then the event was over,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Never leave,
missed
man. If you leave, you
and I
miss
and I,
out.
and I, I missed it 3 times the Mitra's box as well.
Yeah.
Like all this fun stuff I missed. Um, but yeah, if I joined back a bit earlier, my region would be higher, and that's why now if I see an event like here I'm forcing myself to finish this event and at least see the next event. Because
Mm-hmm.
this way, if the next event is not as good as I thought it would be, then okay, well it could warrant a little break
Yeah.
if I really need to take a break.
Well, yeah, that's the
But I
thing.
don't.
You see, or you could also not have to go like full mass at every single event, right? If some event it has like decent gains for I don't know, like the type of items in the shops, for example, or like the participation event is just not something that you specifically need for your situation. Then you can also just only do like 10 or 20% of the event, and then it's not like you're going full time. But then you can pick a bit more. But of course, yeah, that's the benefit you have if you're playing year round versus if you're playing just seasonally.
Yeah.
The one
And
thing I did see that I definitely want to mention, I don't know if people in the chat were already yelling at me, but I see your hyperstats that you've got like a very big. You love boss damage, but you don't like regular damage for some reason.
uh, I've
Oh.
been told to put boss damage
Mm-hmm.
for bossing. Uh, and then apparently like attack is better than damage, and like attack from stat is better than damage apparently from what I've heard. So I don't know if that's like a bunch of baloney or not, but
Attack in stat is better than damage?
yeah, I don't know. Apparently like in the calculations is better.
So you mean these two here? Better
Like
than damage percent?
yeah, I know it sounds I know how it
Well,
sounds, but
are
I
you
don't know.
taking some knowledge from non-reboot with you, or is this all
I
reboot?
don't know. It's really just been reboot.
Okay. He's right, but also wrong. So it's like you want boss damage, yeah, but the thing is that just damage or boss damage is just that gets thrown into one pile for your calculations. So which however much you have, 1% damage and 1% boss damage do the same for you.
Okay.
So
So
if you
they're
can spread evenly between the two, then it's then you just for bossing you'd spread evenly between damage and boss damage, at least up to 10, and then past 10 you'll favor boss damage slightly over damage because every level in hyperstats gives you 4 versus 3 in damage. So
okay.
that's why for bossing that's slightly more important, but not 12 to 3 more important. More like
Okay.
12 to 11 or 12 to 10 more important kind of thing.
Mhm. And for mobbing, I should definitely just put damage on, right? Well, damage and normal monster damage.
Yeah, so I have a specific hyperstat video on it, but basically you just replace boss damage with normal monster damage for the different setup, and then typically you replace ignore enemy defense with EXP, essentially. And then the rest of the setup is kind of the same, depending on, some classes have a little bit more crit when they're mobbing versus when they're bossing, or vice versa, so then they might need to add a little bit more crit maybe. But in general, that's the setup. And of course, if you need arcane power, then that's more important. But the attack and stat that you were and stat, so those usually just get kind of like the leftover points. But attack is better than stat here because the stat that you get does not get multiplied with your percentages, but the attack does. So that scales a little bit better. But usually, stat and attack are like at 5 or lower. If you have enough points to go above that, then it's better to just save the points and wait until you can level up the stats on one of the other, the big stats, like the big 4 or the big 5.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, I'm a bit of an Arcane Force enjoyer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I really I need it so that I can like farm in like higher regions.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever my symbols are done, should I still keep a bit of Arcane Force? Like, is it good for like a certain amount of bosses in Arcane River?
So you'll see for every boss what the requirement of the area is. Essentially, once you have your crystals, your symbols all the way maxed, the only thing that it can still help you is, so technically, if you're just maxed and that's the only sources of arcane power you have, then a little bit extra, up to 30 extra, can still help you deal bonus damage on Vihela. But you typically get that 30 from the guild skill, so you don't have to add any hyperstats. There is a situation though where you can get, because that's like the extra 10% interval, but you cannot get to the 30% interval even if you put all the points in, so it's not worth to put any in basically. The only other boss you can still get to get do the bonus damage to is the Black Mage, but only if there's also an event that has a skill that also gives arcane power, because then that arcane power plus the hyperstats together can just barely get you to dealing 10% more final damage on the Black Mage. So Typically, that's like the 3 setups. Is like one is just mobbing, one is just bossing, and then one is specifically for arcane power bossing kind of thing.
Okay. And I noticed in your chat people are saying attack potential better than
Mm-hmm.
damage potential. Yeah, that's something I knew. I just thought it also applied to hyperstats.
Yeah, percentage attack is just in general the things that you have less access to are like if you can choose where you put your stats, like in hyperstats, then whatever you have less access to outside of that source would be more valuable in here. So that's why critical damage typically you put that higher than the other ones because critical damage is much more rare outside of hyperstats, right? So that's what that one levels a bit faster, but typically it doesn't level too much. It doesn't level like 13 to 3 faster because there's a reason why the things cost what they do, and there's a reason why there's access where there is.
Mhm.
You'd have to have like a crazy. I mean, you could do the calculations, but you have to have a crazy amount of percentage damage before this difference would be justified. It almost never would be because up to 10, if you're looking at putting hyperstats like past 12 and like to 13, that's just so expensive. If you put the
Mhm.
critical damage down 1 point, you can probably get the damage from 3 to 10 just because of how insanely expensive that is. So then you're getting like, what is it, 21% damage in exchange for 1% critical damage, which is not always, blanket statement a good idea, but you're looking at the percentage of how much you're losing, right? So you have
Mhm.
109% critical damage, your base critical damage is 35%, so you have around 144. So 1% of that is 144th, so that's like 0.7% final damage lost. And then your total damage, at least right now when you're standing still, visually here is like 400, right? Boss damage plus damage. And then your base damage is 100%, so that adds up to about 500%. So if you were to add 21%, that's 125th, so that's like 4% final damage. So you'd lose 0.7, but you gain 4. So that's a really good exchange for points. I don't know if it's exactly 7 levels for the one, but it'll be something close to that because those points get very expensive. So that's how you can
Okay.
roughly see how that like exchanges with each other.
All right.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, it made a lot of sense.
Cool. The one other thing that I saw is that you on your arc you don't have decent speed infusion on. Is that you?
Right now it's not on because when I'm mobbing I don't usually put it on. I'll put holy symbol, but
Mhm.
it's there. Uh, I use it when I'm bossing.
If you're mobbing, how
Well,
does your
actually, the
setup
thing
switch when you're mobbing and bossing?
my hyper stats, my link skills, and then my V matrix. The only thing that changes right now is just
Mm-hmm.
DSI. If I'm bossing, DSI takes holy symbol slot, and if I'm mobbing, holy symbol takes DSI slot.
Okay. Because when you're mobbing, you're trying to like kill all the monsters on a full rotation on 7 seconds, all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
Do you find the beast very useful there, or is it more like distracting because you want to go to the bottom of the map, put it down, go around?
Normally on like some rotations where I want to be a bit lazier, I'll just put the beast down the right and then do something on the left of the map, and then
Mm-hmm.
like this way I don't have to go back there.
Yeah.
It's really doesn't change that much though, but like sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
let's say I want to take a sip of water or something, I'll put the beast down, go
Gotcha,
to the
gotcha.
left, use my full map, and just drink
Mm-hmm.
water.
And does your Grandest Blessing and your Overdrive, do you feel like those help with the kill speed, or can you already kill the monsters without them?
I can kill them in Spectre mode without them, but when I'm in Flora mode, um, I'll sometimes have to use the Grandest Blessing to one shot on specific maps, like
Mm-hmm.
on a couple different maps. But I know that Overdrive I don't use, so maybe like
Yeah.
I should just remove Overdrive when I'm farming.
Yeah, because when you're training, you're trying to make it so that that your constant damage, your baseline, your minimum damage is augmented and not like, but at 100% uptime, right? So like Grandest Blessing is good if you have like or Overdrive or Grandest Blessing or another skill and then you can just rotate and then you have always something on because you stagger them. Then you're also increasing your baseline of damage. But if you only have that sometimes for mobbing, but because sometimes you were lacking like 5% damage, if by switching to two other things, you actually increase your damage by 5%, and then you can always kill, that would be better, because then you don't also have something else that you shouldn't push. Because one thing that's good on arcs, for example, is your passives. That's why that's our best in slot inner ability. So as weird as it is, maybe when you're mobbing, it might be better if you have decent combat orders instead, because that increases all of your passives, and that might actually give you enough damage, baseline damage, to not need the extra thing. But yeah, you also don't have all of your boost nodes in yet. I don't know if you're jumping around and boosting around.
Well, there's a couple of there's a couple of boost nodes that I've been starting to try to work on.
Mm-hmm.
For mobbing specifically, because right now my triangle is mostly like, it's good for bossing and it's good for like when I'm farming in Flora, because the
The basic
basic
spell
drive
bullets. Yeah.
hurt they hurt instead of tickling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not optimal yet. I've been mix and matching. There was a lot of, I put a lot of node stones beforehand on this, like last year. But now that I'm not really playing Arc much, like I'm trying to just make do with what I have.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I could replace some things, like usually when I go in Flora modes, most of the time I'll just pop conversion overdrive. I think not conversion.
Mm-hmm.
Is it conversion overdrive? I
Yep.
forgot the name of it.
Yeah, the blue one. Yeah.
Yeah, the blue one, and
Blue,
then
purple. Yeah.
I'll pop infinity, so
Mm-hmm.
that my bullets kill the map.
Okay.
So maybe I could remove like Grandis and overdrive, because those already help me kill, and then I could maybe remove Grandis plus overdrive and put in their place I could put, like, I have two boost nodes in the bottom that are like level 14 and 13. They could help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ideally, you'd end up with 5 total boost nodes that boost everything twice except for one skill. Either your dash or the Scarlet Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Uh,
but now you have some triples, right? So you'd have to.
yeah. The thing is, I have triples because they're still not up to 30, and node stones are starting to be like really invested more in my Dawn Warrior.
Yeah, yeah, but also because you have, well, you have 3 of them, but they're also level 20. You'd want to transfer over to like a new set, right? You don't want to have to extract or anything.
Yeah. I'm probably just gonna lose out a bit here.
Yeah.
I'm already losing out a bit because
Mm-hmm.
they're all 20 plus the 5 bonus, so I have like
Yeah, it's fine to
maybe
have 5,
15.
but you have like another one that's like level 12 as well. You don't want to invest in too many, especially if you're kind of multi-maining, because then your node stones are a very valuable resource. So you don't want to level up too many, or unless you were you going for like a full like 6 boost node setup, or
Well, there what I was doing is I was just keeping those 3
mm-hmm.
until 2 of them got to 30, and I just drop 1, and then I'd be able to bring other ones there instead.
But if you if you extract a boost node, you don't get like all the value back. That's kind of the problem. You lose a lot of
Yeah.
value. You just get some shards back. But if you transfer a leveled boost node into like a new boost node to change the skills on it, then all of the EXP gets transferred over.
I hadn't thought of that, because since we're leaving 1 over, maybe I could just make it so that the one that's being left over, I have it as a main node on one of the main nodes I have right now, and then maybe I
Mm-hmm.
just put like the other drives under, and then
Yeah, because
it'll make up for.
you got like 7 nodes now, and 5 should be enough. So if you stop leveling the one that's like 8 and 12, and look for different combinations on the leveled ones already, to make it fit the puzzle, then that would be better. But you might have to like unequip it and then click the new node and then level the new node with level 20, which looks a little bit weird. But once you've got your set, then you can also know what you can extract. I wouldn't just like level one of all of them, because then you lose a whole bunch of value to the nodes and you lose a whole bunch of shards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how much the attack speed for you helps, but the more attack speed, especially if you're going to be bossing as well, is you using it there. But when you're mobbing, it might make the rotation faster if you need to get into position for the boss. Yeah, for the map respawn, right?
Yeah. It's
Something to
I
think
haven't
about.
really been farming. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
been farming a lot with the DSI, but I think I should. I really haven't been using. I haven't been using my arc much
Mm-hmm.
recently, except for bossing. So
Yeah.
most of the time, I'll just have DSI in boss, and then put my holy symbol for drops. And
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be thinking that like if I would just look, what I would try is take out Overdrive Beast, Conversion Overdrive, and Goddess for mobbing, and put in decent speed infusion, decent combat orders, and your 2 boost nodes, and kind of see how that goes. You can also, if those lower boost nodes don't help enough, you can also put in the Urda shower. I don't know if you're strong enough in the area where you are, but if you put the shower down as a fountain, then you also have a summon in the map that could kill monsters. If you're on a big map where you can't clear easily yourself.
yeah.
But I think the
Uh,
baseline and bringing the baseline up of all the skills and using the whole kit, it's probably a good idea.
yeah. I've only recently gone to Moonbridge on this character, so I don't really know exactly my rotations yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll put it down. I'm gonna note all this down.
Do
So you
you?
said overdrive, conversion overdrive.
Yeah, I take out the overdrives and typically the beast because like you have to position the beast for it to do well, and then it takes a while before it fires. And I don't think for mobbing it doesn't help that much. Like if you want to blow up an elite or something, but you can
Yeah,
also
doesn't help
it'll
that
die
much.
anyway, right? And the
Yeah.
goddess blessing, and I'll probably put in the 2 decents on the left, and then the 2 boost nodes. But yeah, you might have to reconfigure a little bit the boost nodes and which one has which lines. But being able to dash through the monsters and all of the spell bullets of all of the skills, main thing when you're mobbing on arc, ideally is that you do like 1 rotation in flora and then you switch and then you do 1 rotation in spectra, because then you can get the devious nightmare and the devious dream to trigger every time, because they have like a 8 second cooldown, but they have separate cooldowns. So they have like an extra swipe that comes out every time when you do the
All right. So
Endless Dream,
I
Endless
want to do
Nightmare.
one rotation on Flora and one with Spectre all the time.
Yeah, that's ideally. And then if you do that well and you switch out quickly, then you keep your spectra roughly balanced if you can get that done. And then because you have Abyssal Recall every now and then, you get a little bit more of a buff in spectra, and that'll help you repair the little bit of spectra you lose on every rotation, essentially.
In that case, if at some point this is like starts being doable for me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then maybe I should also just remove Infinity and then put another boost note.
Well,
So then that helps my damage because I won't be really using Infinity much. Like I'd have downtime on it.
that's true. It does have extra. We have a little bit more time now on the spell bullets though, so they will float around and you create a lot of spell bullets. So much so that you can in Flora mode you can kind of just like jump around with basic, and then just the spell bullets just float around and destroy everything. That can be a bit more chill. But I think the next step, like you say, like the next step would be to find like alternating empowering skills. So it'd probably be between Infinity and then Conversion Overdrive, because it also creates like explosions around the map. But then you're more trying to min max, trying to pick up like stragglers that are like in the corner of the map or something that you can't really hit very well. And then with a little bit of extra damage, or if you're almost killing but not quite yet, and then because a lot of your damage does come from the impending death and comes from the spell bullet, so it might be hard to hit enough targets because our hitboxes are sometimes a bit weird, especially in Flora. You want hitboxes to be a little bit more, especially the vertically down hitbox is pretty bad, right? Everything just kind of hits where you are or
Yeah.
higher. But the spell bullets, if they hit something, they can float down and kill things, and that will make it so that you don't have to go out of the way. If you want to go to VC3 or something in Moonbridge, it's best to stay on like the first platform up and then kill above you and then go back down, but not go to all the way to the bottom platform. But the spell bullets will bounce there and will kill them. You want to have
Okay.
enough. Yeah, you want to have enough of those.
Because I don't. Because what I usually do when I farm on my arc is I'll like I won't be using Infinity until I'm in Flora,
Mm-hmm.
and I stay in Flora when my arc is well, not my arc when my Spectre is depleted.
Mm-hmm.
not fully depleted because I don't want to be like
Yeah.
fatigued, but like when it's depleting, I go to Flora and I just
Mm-hmm.
pop Infinity. By the time Infinity is done, I have like Spectre back, and like Infinity plus Conversion Overdrive would usually help me one shot everything and
Mm-hmm.
clear the map. But here you're saying I should still keep Infinity and use it once in a while, using the one arc, one Flora rotation, one Spectre rotation.
Yeah, that's what I usually do. That works well for me. But of course, yeah. Um, I was in different areas of the game at different stages with the same class, right? So if you find that it doesn't really, you don't think it really helps you, you can try some different combinations.
All right.
But the
Let's
boost
just
notes
hope it goes down.
and the extra speed, I think, should help quite a bit. And extra
Yeah.
damage on the 2 setups will help you. Yeah, I see that your was it your dom? Oh yeah, yeah. Well, the arc when boosted has a gains a whole lot of damage, right? Both boss
Yeah.
damage and regular damage, but it's still good. It still scales well for us.
But these buff like full buffed like I
Mhm.
also took like there also was like double pot and like
Mhm.
legion, so I don't typically farm like that. That's more of an indicator of like when I'm bossing.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas unbuffed was like with like no buffs at all, but I like normally when I'm mobbing I'll hit like maybe 11 million range would be like the range I hit. Maybe maybe 13 even, but like
Mhm.
it doesn't go all the way up quite as much.
Not to
As
23. Okay.
oh no.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy. That's is your crit rate a bit high here? Maybe your Legion
uh
grid is still set.
yeah, well my crit rate, how I
Oh,
usually
gosh.
do it is I like I'll make it so my decent sharp eyes brings me to 100%.
Mhm.
But sometimes like there's a bit of extra crit rate from Legion that I don't want to just remove because like it helps on other characters, so I
Yeah.
just keep it in. I'll have like 2% more crit rate than I should, but it is what it is.
I think for your arc you can switch out the Phantom for more damage because your Scarlet Drive gives you 20% crit.
But that's what Scardor Drive, the what you saw earlier, that was
Yeah.
what Scardor Drive.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because here it's
Uh,
red, but here it's but with for the unbuffed it's a black number. So I thought
okay, no.
maybe it
Well, I
wasn't.
mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to read it. I'll have to recheck
Yeah, maybe double check. Yeah, because that
because
would fall under
it would be a
the.
good gain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know what
That
exactly.
that that plus the fact actually that's true. I know why. These were taken with like the previous event, if I remember well.
Sure. Okay.
Like events, I put crit rate on event a bit,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think that kind of inflated it a bit.
Yeah, that's possible.
But it's only 5% I put though, so it's fine.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, we have the you have the money to 17 everything, right?
Yeah, I think I might have enough to 17 everything I wanted from
Mhm.
what I've seen. So
Mhm.
hopefully it's doable. Because if that happens, I think I might be able to start pushing into just pushing a bit into H Logan party, not H Logan party, but H Lugal party,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
just because I know I might be like I'm with my Dawn Warrior, I could like do Lucid, um, just solely off the fact that it's a dumb class. Uh, but my arc used to run Lucid, normal Lucid weekly, and I'm trying to push it a bit further now. So I don't know if I'll actually be able to do H2L with 17 star everything, but
Mhm.
if I can do it in a party, that'd be nice. Because I've been getting carried recently, and I'd like to be able to contribute as well.
Yep. 13. You have the.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff like stockpiled on my arc right now.
Mhm.
My Dawn Warrior doesn't have all that much right now, but it's starting to get stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I
And
see
I didn't really
around.
push my potentials much because I've been waiting for a Shining Star first.
Yeah, that's best. Yeah. I mean, in general, it's a good idea. So usually, like early on, it's like okay, you just start first everything up to 10. That's cool, and then you run some pots, WSE up to unique, up to legendary, and then like drop
Mm-hmm.
Mesogear, right? So it would definitely be to try to get all the 17s. If you think you're running low on money or you feel like you're getting unlucky, just get the 16s first, and then with the money that's left, you can do the 17s because that's like the one that you probably safeguard on a lot of pieces. So that's by far going to be the most expensive star. So definitely get all your 16s, and then if you have money left, then you can go to 17s. But after that, it probably be full blown drop Mesogear making on the DA. That'd be the next step.
Actually, from what I've seen though, it's pretty funny. Even though even with even with not Star Force, but with Safeguard on 16 to 17,
Mm-hmm.
14 to 15 tends to be more expensive.
Yeah, I get what you
Like
mean. Yeah,
the
yeah, but you have to do
because
15,
because the
otherwise you don't get the weapon
resources.
attack, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, yeah, the individual attempts to 15 are pricey, but it can't drop anymore, so that's like
Yeah,
calculated into the.
so now you can't get unlucky.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you can
Well,
get
you can
you
still,
can still
but
fail a whole bunch of times, but it should be way faster as well. Like if something booms, you're not really going to be booming much, but for other people who boom something, it shouldn't like take forever to get back up to 15 because sometimes during a 5, 10, 15 you spent like half the time getting items back from 10 to 15 after you trace, and that was just a huge waste of time.
yeah.
But yeah, the drop in Mesogear will set you up to make sure that for the next event that comes around, you'll have a lot more backups. And because you have your 17 stars, you can reliably keep killing as well. You can work once you drop in a Mesogear, you can also just work on the potential stuff a little bit. But slowly bring all the non WSE and accessories up slowly up to unique, and just re-roll a little bit with the mobbing cubes. But I wouldn't be tapping things up to legendary, and I wouldn't be starforsting things past 17. I'd mostly be looking at either saving up for big projects or working slowly on Bossing Mules if you have a character that you like. And we mentioned a few, right? A few characters
Yeah.
that you think would be nice to boss on and to bring money in for your account, because that's remember to do the hypers for the Demon Avenger as well. The Dawn Warrior as well, because that one has level
Yeah,
2
I'll do it
damage
too.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be something that someone said that was correct, but maybe misunderstood, or maybe they
100%.
misexplained something. But
Yeah,
yeah.
they'll look at the inner ability. It's still not good.
Yeah, I could use some work. Just remember not to. Well, it's a little bit too late, I guess now. But in the beginning, your character gets a decent amount of honor XP, like as a new class. But that it's kind of fake in the sense that that is not how much you get over time normally. You get a lot because you level a lot, but you take a lot of time to make that a second time, that same amount. And if you
So I
start,
should have saved it for those sunny Sundays.
yeah, in the beginning it's best to just mostly go off of circulators to get to legendary and to roll something that's like acceptable, kind of like what your arc has, like a mobbing inner ability. And then you can use the 50% off if you just get only a nice top line to get something nice on second or third line. But you want to save the majority of your honor EXP for when you want to switch it from a mobbing to a bossing inner ability. So basically when most of your income is coming from the bossing mules and not so much from grinding on your main or side characters anymore, then it makes more sense. And at that point also the demand for damage is going to be way bigger on your stronger characters. You want then you want to be able to make the transition. Usually that's like around level 260, 265 or something. You're really doing like Tenebris bosses, Chaos Tenebris bosses. Then you want to be able to make like a bossing inner ability, and that's going to need a lot of honor. That's like at least 1.5 million, but usually I tell people to have at least like 2.5, maybe even 3 million honor XP to have like a good chance of making a really solid inner ability there. And yeah, the more you already spend it up front, the longer it's going to take you to be able to make the switch.
Okay.
So no more spending. on the honor and circulating when you have the money. So that again, that's going to be something after you have the drop in Meso gear ready.
All right. There was that I wanted to say. Yeah. My emblem.
Mm-hmm.
Would you recommend for me to
No.
try to tear it up afterwards later, or
Well,
do I
at some
just?
point, but only if you're looking for like 2.5 or 3 line.
All right.
So that's gonna be much later because when I say like get the WC to legendary, what we want to do is we want to get 2 useful lines, and you have 2 useful lines. You just happen to have it on unique, so you just keep it unique and save that money.
And my I'm one away from Pino secondary, and that
Mm-hmm.
I got lucky on my secondary. It rolled into legendary, and as soon as it rolled into 65% boss damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept it there. Should I also just work like on that whenever SSF is done, and I'm starting to like save a bit of meso? Should I just start working on that piano
Mm-hmm.
secondary right away? Try to get it 2-line attack at least,
Well, I see
and
you
then
have
have one for bossing and
yeah,
one
your arc
for
has the same, right? Your arc also has a 2-line boss one and then 2-line attack one, right?
yeah.
Ideally, so it's good to have 2 secondaries, but you don't really want to have your secondary for 2 different situations. You kind of just want to have one secondary that you always use, and then another one that you're rolling in case you can make an upgrade. And if you make an upgrade, then you just switch the situation. But you ideally, so like the only time you would make 2 is I feel like if you hit some 3-line shenanigans, like you hit boss ID boss or something like that, where it's like, okay, that's actually nice because all 3 lines do something, but they do jack shit when you're mobbing. Because that's kind of the problem with this current one, is that it's nice for bossing, but when you're mobbing, it's essentially dead weight. And because it's a fast leveling character and arcane power, blah blah blah, all that shit, it's going to be difficult to keep up with the killing speed and the demand of the monsters around you if your secondary is not working with you. So I would roll on a secondary, and again, that's probably for after the boss and after the drop in the Meso gear, right? So after Shining Star Force, after drop Meso gear, get that done first. But I mostly use like just like solid cubes that you find from bossing. I throw those on there, and every now and then throw like a pack of reds on there when you're feeling the itch. But I wouldn't spend too much money on it. And if you roll something like attack and boss, then I would just switch your current one with that over already, and then just roll this one instead. And then if this one rolls something better, then you switch over again, kind of like that.
And you would use reds instead of black cubes for it?
The glow. Well, yeah, that's the benefit of having 2 secondaries, is that you can just roll freely because you're rolling on the shittiest one anyway, so you're not losing anything, right?
But don't you get like more chances of getting double prime when you use black cube?
Yes, but you are not in the state of the game yet where that is financially a good idea for you.
Okay.
The main thing that a black cube would be good for if you want to like roll double prime stats, the only thing you have access to would be like on your arc's gloves if you want to roll double crit damage there. But you probably don't want to do that because it's mostly going to be a bossing mule, maybe up to Hard Lotus and Hard Damien. So just rolling with glowing cubes and getting 1 line of crit and then 1 line of stat, or a line of speed infusion, or a line of sharp eyes, right? So you can maybe free up a matrix slot because Arc does want quite a lot of matrix slots. That would be better value for you there, and because you don't need to push that hard on that glove. That money is better spent on the Dawn Warrior instead.
Yeah, I've just been throwing the cubes that I need to tear them up from bossing. So whenever I get solid / hard cube, I throw them on my gloves and my my ring, since they're not equipped, like my Guardian Angel ring, since they're not really equipped. But right now my Guardian Angel ring, I stopped throwing stuff on it because it's already because it rolled an alright potential.
Yeah.
Like
21, right? 10, 7, 4.
I don't remember well. I think it's 21, yeah. And
yeah,
it's already out damaging with 0 stars. It's out damaging my counter ring. My counter ring. I got lucky and I got like drop rate on it, so I got like double lines meso drops. So.
Yep.
Not quite a triple line. like somebody else in the guild, but
Yeah, not not lucky. Not lucky that's on your 17 star though. But I guess yeah. Again, like in the beginning, those things are unlucky, lucky. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, a 17 star item is like a normal Tuesday night. Once you're a little bit further in the game, you just push something, boom, you get some stars, and you move on, even off event. But yeah,
yeah.
in the beginning, it kind of like locks you in place.
Yeah, I really do be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me so long to find my mesos, and then I see people in the guild, they run their 12 bosses on all their bosses. They have no more crystals to sell. They're like making 32 bill a week. I'm like, oh, alright.
Mm-hmm. Wait, who's making 32?
Okay, that's 32 is a bit higher, but I think it's like
Okay.
24 bill. Calamar does that
Mm-hmm.
because he has a bunch of bossing mules. They all hit very hard.
Yep.
He said I didn't say it. He said it, but he said the arc mule kind of goated. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Take him for his word.
Yeah, when they were
Bossing mule for
3 minute,
arc.
people didn't like it as much because there's just too much time in between your bursts. But now that it's full 2 minute and you have your 2 minute burst and everything, it makes. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you just, especially because you don't really need for a boss meal, you don't really need to push the boost nodes that hard because if you just hit the 5th job skills in your full burst, then that usually just nukes pretty much every boss. So you just
He also rolled triple line attack on his weapon though, so
that helps.
on legendary, yeah,
Helps a
that does
lot,
help.
especially with our low, with our good weapon multiplier. So that's very useful.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything specific for the Arc or the Dawn Warrior? So general plan, the Shining Star Force, right? 16 all, 17 probably doable. Then focused on the drop and mezzo set for the Dawn Warrior. You know how to go about doing that?
About doing the drop mixo.
Yeah, like how many lines, which equips.
Uh, it's been a while since I last had to work on drop gear, but if I remember
Mhm.
well, you want to have 5 meso lines, and the rest you want to have at least 1 line of item drop on
Mhm.
everything.
Yep.
And then from there, you want to, I think it's pendant that you're happy if it gets double meso slash double item. I'm not 100% sure.
Mhm. Yeah, because if you want to wear the spirit pendant for training.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's the only thing I remember.
Yeah. If you have like the stronger pieces, it'd be cool if the stronger pieces had mostly mezzo, and the kind of weaker pieces that you use if they have mostly drop. Because drop rate is what you're going to be wearing either when you're killing really weak bosses or when you're killing boxes at the end of a boss fight, so you don't need as much damage there. But the mezzo pieces you're going to be wearing when you're mobbing, so you don't want to lose too much damage when you're mobbing. So if there's any kind of preference, then try to get the mezzo on stronger pieces and the drop rate on weaker pieces.
Okay, so meso percent on stronger pieces.
Yeah, if possible. So mostly what's going to happen is you're going to either end up with like 6 drop or with like, with 6 mezzo pieces, because as soon as you hit something, you just move on to the next equip, right? And if you have too many of one, then you just re-roll either, based on the strongest piece, or if something doesn't have any strength on it, then you can just re-roll that, and then hopefully you end up with a whole lot of percentage strength alongside the
Yeah,
drop in the mezzo, so you don't lose too
I've
much
been doing
damage when
that.
you drop down. Yeah, that's good.
The E flame ring is
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if that one was
I'm
mezzo, that
happy
would be
with it.
nicer, but I guess it's also okay like this.
And
It's
on
18.
my arc, I think everything had a useful line plus drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 9
Cause
pieces, right? If they all have 9, then it's 81% extra
uh
strength that adds up.
yeah, exactly. They're the ones a bit further above. Yeah,
Yep,
it's
it's got
like
like
in my
all.
third or second. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's some of them have all stat. The other ones have like strength percent.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it so that I'm not too weak when I'm in those gear.
Yeah, especially in the flora, to keep killing.
Yeah, and it's also just I don't my boss not my boss, my damage gear has been starting to be useful, but
Mm-hmm.
it just wasn't until I got my slime ring, because everything that I try to replace
Mm-hmm.
would either be just like not as strong, or it would be something that's not part of the boss set, so then I'd lose
Right.
out on the
Yeah.
boss set.
And then it would be weaker because of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
it's been a
useful.
pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like my Sweetwater stuff, I haven't been able to use much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do Commercy anymore because I hate it. So
Yeah, that's why back in the day when people, what technically when the Sweetwater stuff was best in slot, and people were like, oh, just get like a monocle quickly and a tattoo, and then you have best in slot. But it's like people didn't have the money to upgrade it to the point where it was actually stronger than their Zakum pieces, so they would just be sitting on it and not be able to do anything with it. So
that's
instead of
exactly what's happening for
yeah,
me.
so instead of buying the pieces, you just upgrade your boat, and then you can make way more dineros in way less time, and then you can get backups faster, and then you can actually get high Star Force pieces, and then you can make really solid, 19, 20, 21 star pieces that really replace your current pieces once the Superior Galax comes in, and then you can make huge upgrades to the Zakum, drop rate meso pieces, and then instead you have Sweet Water with stat, Superior with stat, and your total stat goes up, and weapon attack of course goes up a lot. You can track that a little bit more, right? We added the weapon attack to the progression grid, so you can kind of see that's gonna make a big difference for you if you're star forcing past 15 for the first time basically. You should see your weapon attack go
Yeah.
up quite a bit, but yeah, it's hugely affected by the potential of your WSE. So
Yeah, I've been but isn't like Sweetwater and like the Sweetwater stuff a bit less valuable than before now because transposing doesn't give boss flames anymore?
a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit less. But the problem is all the alternatives to Sweetwater are all RNG party boss drops. So
Yeah, like Twilight
yeah,
and then
and
Pitch.
pitched, yeah. So if those are your alternatives, I think Sweetwater isn't that bad as an alternative.
And Twilight is face, right? And then
Yeah, you have
there's
the pep
nothing for
mark,
eyes except
so
for Pitch.
you have the pep mark right on the Dawn Warrior, so you can
Yeah.
yeah. So,
No, it's not Dawn Warrior. My bad. It's my
oh, is
arc.
it an arc? Oh yeah.
Yeah, my arc has Black Bean twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad because it got a second Black Bean just by clearing Pink Bean normal, not even
Mhm.
Chaos. Uh,
Yeah, that becomes pretty
I know
common.
I have. Yeah, but then for all the runs I've done on my Dawn Warrior, it's been getting none of the good drops.
Unlucky.
Like no Dawn Pendant either. And I didn't get a single superior ever since I started doing Galaxies.
Unlucky.
But as soon as that comes in, I think Dawn Warrior is gonna see a even more exponential growth.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we could I could build off of that 250.
Yep. I see you have 3 item drop rate small amount familiars here. You're aware that they don't stack?
So if you put two small together, they don't stack.
Correct. Yeah, they don't stack.
Okay. But what if I put one small and one big? Like, does that stack together?
Then only the largest percentage will activate. The thing is that there are 2 different types of buffs. So there's the one for item drop, and then there's one for meso drop. So those each have their own multiplier. So if there's lines that do each, then both of those will activate. But for every individual type of drop, only the biggest percentage will activate.
Okay. So I should never like double dip into those.
No, only if they also have the most defense, right? Because the defense stat makes the familiar gauge go down slower. So if you just have one big drop, or big drop, whatever your biggest type of drop that you have that one summoned, then I usually just fill either with familiars that you're trying to level up if you're trying to rank up familiars, or with whatever familiar has the most defense to slow down the familiar gauge. If you don't have any leveled familiars, you can also put in the highest rank, like the unique or something, because then when they level, they will gain more defense per level up, and then they will make your familiar gauge go slower. But that's mostly relevant if you're like playing characters for more than 2 hours a day, right? Because otherwise, the familiar gauge still has up to 2 hours. If you like AFK during the day and you forget to take them off or something, then sometimes the bar is gone. But most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, for me. It's rarely gone. Not
Mm-hmm.
gonna lie. But when it is, I got my fair share of extracted
Okay.
familiars, so I'm able to refill the summon gauge.
I see.
I'm able to sustain it at least.
You ever buy booster packs or
Uh,
not quite that much?
I'm never gonna buy them.
Okay.
I think they're a scam.
Well,
Uh,
they have a pretty high chance of giving epics, and they also have a good chance of giving like rare cards, like the boss ones. But it's only if you're really trying to collect for the sets and all, and min max on the set, you know. So maybe later, but like right now, it's probably not worth it. Yeah.
yeah. For now, I'm trying to just keep them for um how do you call that to refill because
Mm-hmm.
I'm whenever I'm whopping maybe like 2 wops in a day or like 3 wops, then I
Yeah.
lose them and I want to
Mm-hmm.
keep them.
Yep. Well, that's
But
more than 2
I
hours. Yeah.
yeah I should always be using basically like one meso item drop rate. Like is
Um.
that like better?
Yeah. So I break that down in the drop rate command, but essentially there's like a max. The meso drop rate, well, because of the name, that only affects the drop rate of mesos. But for all other
Mm,
sources of drop rate, a bag of meso is considered an item. So, like if you have in your on your accessories, 20% drop rate, that includes all items, including meso as well. So
mhm.
you can already get enough. It's possible to get enough drop rate with your inner with your holy symbol, with your equips, so that the bag always drops. And if that's the case, then meso drop rate doesn't add anything anymore. And you can also just use higher defense ones, or maybe you get one that has like percentage attack or like a little bit of percentage strength or something, so that you can get a little bit more damage when you're mobbing, because then at that point you will overcap. So the base drop rate for a bag is 60%. So if you have more than 66.67% item drop rate, then a bag will always drop.
Good.
So yeah, holy symbol can very quickly give like 10. You have some in your inner ability. But yeah,
Yeah.
like if you have at least, that's why also we have this 4 lines here, right? Because 4 lines is 80, and then 3 lines would be 60, and then you would still lose a little bit. And then 80 is also over this, so you're safe on both of that, and you get more nodes, more droplets, etc.
Yeah. And basically you want to have the max for Meso is like 120, right?
Uh, no, but
For
like
Meso
when it comes
obtain.
to inner ability and equips together, the max is the max for equips is 100%, and that includes if you would get what's called meso. There is a meso obtain as well, unique familiar. But it says like 20 meso, but it should say 20%. But it basically works like a line on your equips. So if you already have 100, it doesn't work. But if you only have 80 on your equips, then it would bring you up to 100. And there's also item acquisition unique on a familiar, and that works the same as the line of drop rate would, and stacks together with the equips as well. But equips stacks all the way up to 200% instead of up to 100%. So it's more likely that that would be useful. But the total can go quite a lot higher. So here you can see all the percentages of the familiars, but you can also just summon the familiar and then look at your look at your stat screen, right? That's
Yeah.
sometimes easier because some of these have variants, like increased item drop rate could be 50 or 60 if it's epic, and increases item and meso by a large amount could be 50 or 60 as well. So you have to check. You have to check those. But yeah, like if you have one that says item and meso by a large amount, again, maybe at this point it's not useful. But if you're going to Cernium later and you're going to be training there in meso gear, then you lose your drop rate, and that might put you below the 66.67%, right? So then you might want to get a meso drop rate familiar again to make sure that a bag always drops. So it's good to keep the options open.
Okay.
Yeah, total meso obtain. I don't know. Like you have to check the stat window, but I think you can go up to like Is it even like 2,000%? Because we have some crazy percentages, right? Because reboot.
Yeah.
For drop rate, I have the numbers here. So I think the highest you can go is 460% with a greed pendant bonus. And then realistically, for training, you're going to be somewhere between 240 and 330, and then for bossing, somewhere between 300 and up to 409. And then you could get some extra with party buffs, you know, like Holy Symbol, Besamer buff, that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right, so your main question was like direction for stuff. How do you feel on that?
I feel like now at least I have a bit of a better understanding of where I'll go on after Shining Star Force. You know, like I'm a Dawn Warrior, and I also feel I feel like from what you said about being like vertical or horizontal for my progression, I know like I don't. It's gonna be kind of a diagonal, you know. It's gonna be like I
Yeah,
wanna go
yeah.
up, but at the same
You
time,
always want to do a little bit of both. That's definitely true. But you want to have a general focus. But in the beginning, it will just fluctuate way faster. So you will be going somewhat diagonal. But like for me, it right now it's like, okay, do I want to level past 280 on a character, or do I want to work on 10k Legion? Like you can't really do both of those at the same time, because if you do, you're not going to get either one. So
yeah.
there I will start having to pick. But it's like, do I go from 250 to 255, or do I build towards 6k Legion? Well, you can kind of do both of those. You know, if there's an event that gives you free levels, you jump on that. If there's a good training buff or something like there is now, you want to grind a little bit more in your main. But it's a good idea to still make like 1 or 2 characters a week, so that in a month and a half you have all of your character slots filled and you have some level 60s, and then the 6k Legion comes out of nowhere, right? So
Yeah.
because there's still those easy gains to make. So definitely just keep an eye on the progression grid and kind of look at like, where can I make the easy gains? Like, where is my time valuable? And then, oh, there's Shining coming. Okay, now I want to make as much money as possible. Go super hard on Shining. And then right after that, reset the balance again, reset the priority. And now there's an event, and I can get like a lot of bonking potions. Okay, a little bit less on the main, a little bit more on the side characters. Get those easy bonk levels. Get 6k Legion, get 7k Legion maybe. And no, event is over. Okay, reset again. Okay, back on the main, you know? But it's not 100%, 0%, but it's always like, you know, 20%, 80%, or 60%, 40%, or... And then the game kind of decides, or whatever you feel like, right? Let's say that you do an event and you spend a lot of time on side characters and not really on the main, and you're like, I feel like I'm not really progressing because my main character is just sitting there. Like, I'm not really making money. He's getting a little bit stronger. I can kill the bosses a little bit faster, but I want to make actual progress. I want to see the level go up. I want to get to a new boss. Then you get to decide as well. So as long as you're somewhere in these metrics for these numbers, then you're good, you know? And if you start approaching level 260 and past 260 and you're still on 6k Legion, then you're like, well, at this point, you get a lot of value out of Legion. So then maybe pick that up a little bit. But that's why I don't have like level, 242, exactly these numbers, level 243, right? Because first of all, the spreadsheet would be way too big.
Yeah.
And second of all, every time there's an update, the whole thing would have to change. But also, I think it would put way too much pressure on everyone. Plus, it would have to be way more accurate. And then every single class difference you would almost have to make one for every single class, right? So it would just be way, yeah. So that's why it's a bit more vague, which I know leaves you a bit more space to also kind of wander, like, oh, I don't know what exactly I need to do. But when you get freedom, there's 2 responses. One is, one is like, I have too much freedom, I don't know what I should do. Or the other one is, oh, there's freedom here, so that doesn't mean I have to specifically do anything, so I can just do whatever I want. So that second response is the one that I'm looking for, where you're like, okay, well, as long as I'm roughly in the place where I need to be, I can just do whatever I feel like doing. I can enjoy myself and have fun. And then if I look back, a month later and be like, oh, I'm actually kind of low on that functional IED. I should work on that a little bit. Okay, how do I work on that? Maybe I buy some cubes. Is there a Star Force event soon that I'm planning for? No. That means my money is available, so I can work a little bit on that, for example. Mm-hmm. And as long as you know where those sources are and keep an eye on the calendar for the big spending events, But also like, oh, there's an event coming. How many backups do I have? None. Well, then fuck the event. I can't do anything, right?
Yeah.
There's no real, like if you're on a Bossing Mule or something, and yeah, you can tap things up to 15 during 30% off. That's a big investment, really big investment. But then next 5, 10, 15, you can get to 17. You'll have more little projects like that as well, where everything is going at a different pace, but you're progressing your whole account that way.
Yeah.
30% off up to 15, 5, 10, 15, past 15. Cubing, you can do off events. Cubing sales are typically around anniversary and around Black Friday or Cyber Monday, whatever.
Yeah, Cyber Week at this point.
Yeah, it's whenever
month,
whenever they need to sell things.
Way you see it.
Yeah, around Christmas. Christmas is a whole month in America as well, so they just kind of throw that in there.
All right.
Anything you're still wondering about? Maybe something we skipped over?
I don't think we skipped over anything, but I have like a small question.
Sure.
Like with all your bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to make a list of 12 Bossing Mules,
mm-hmm.
Which ones would they be?
So with my bias, let's see. Let me check in game. Well, yeah,
because I'll take a bunch from them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to. I think it's fine to have the bias of which characters I enjoy playing, but I want to exclude the bias of how strong my characters are, right? Because if they're just really strong and I can blow everything up, then I want to boss on that character. But that's more a funding thing than a class thing. Mm-hmm. So for which stage would the Bossing Mules be? Would it be for up to Lotus and Damien, or would it be a little bit lower?
Up to Anlomian, and then a bit more over time.
So maybe Slime.
That's my objective. Yeah, that's my objective over time is get everything to Elucid.
Mm-hmm.
And then push a couple ones of the ones I enjoy most into H-Lomian.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then and then at some point maybe they become a secondary main, or I like that aspect where like they stay at a spot, and then once I feel like I like them a lot, they come up with the rest of my characters.
Yeah, there's something to be said. So I'm not much of a thief player, so I wouldn't put many thieves in the list. But there is definitely something to be said for thieves, especially if you're doing Lotus, Damien, not as much Slime, but like.
The dark side OP.
The Magnus, just dark side is just really good.
Yeah, with Shadower and the Phantom, I do see it.
Mm-hmm.
I
maybe even Dual Blade, even Night Lord, like probably all not bad. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I regret my Phantom because of how much note stones I had to put on it, and it's still not strong. But
I don't think I would put Phantom in that list. Sorry, Phantoms. For Bossing Mule.
I also wouldn't recommend it as a Bossing Mule, but I know that as a main, if you like it in C10, at some point you could just have a bunch of iframes. So
that's
you could cheat a lot of stuff. But
you get like 7 or something if you take all the iframes, right? You can get 6 or 7. I think.
I was watching. I think it's Ken. He has like a high level Phantom.
275, I think.
Like he does not care about the mechanics. He just
just ignores
something
everything.
Happens, iframe, and then whenever he's done cycling his iframes, the other iframes back. I mean, that's cool. That's something. So I'm kind of happy I still have that Phantom, because like if at some point I want to just have fun, I could use Phantom and go up. But
all right, I would put I think I would put because of the advantage, and I think also the 3-minute cycle on Slime, the synchronizing with the Night Lord for spread throw is that good that it makes it pretty easy to just like one test it. So I probably put all 3 of the Explorer Thieves on there. If you're going all the way up to 12, I think. Especially with the potential for past Lotus and Damien. Up to Lotus and Damien, I probably would put only Dual Blade on there. But if you're going to do all past, then...
Shadower is pretty good. So,
Yeah, it's probably almost
yeah,
all gonna be explorers. I like Ice Lightning a lot, so Ice Lightning would be
Ice
on
Lightning.
there. Yeah, really strong.
I currently have a Fire Poison too. Alright.
That's one. That one is a little bit too many too many buttons too often
Yeah,
for me. For Ice Lightning,
true.
it's more like time. Like use one burst in the beginning of Infinity, and then use the second one near the end of Infinity, and then just everything's kind of dead.
Yeah.
That's like much simpler. Just Ice Light, and then just Chain Lightning, and then that's that. Yeah, Dawn Warrior would be on there, and then
That's my main now.
probably Wind Archer.
Wind
Let's see,
Archer for sure.
that's 6, and then if you go up to 12,
I've heard good things about Luminous.
Luminous was stronger than I thought. It's more of a DPM character. Luminous
Like
would
the
be a
Burst of
maybe for
Darkness
me.
is apparently really, really good.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of these classes I haven't played in a while, so I'd have to like check them all again soon. I mean, I need to because I wanna update my class ranking, my total class ranking system as well. Aaron is very strong.
Aaron's strong, true.
Yeah, so that would
And
be.
I have a
So
question
6.
actually as well. Small question related to that.
Okay.
Everyone I ask says that they don't recommend Cannoneer because it's weak. But I
Yeah,
see
Cannoneer
all
would
of you
definitely be on the
people
list.
with
Yeah.
I see all of you people with Cannoneer,
Yeah.
and you all say it's weak.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, I think
Because like I was
mainly,
watching
I
people
think people don't
boss with
like
it,
it
I was like,
endgame.
yeah.
People don't like it endgame, I think. But it's very versatile for mobbing and boss. Like one of the problems, quote unquote, with Bossing Mules is that the level of funding you do to it determines which bosses it can do and how fast it can do them. And it's like, do you need to wait a whole 2-minute rotation? Do you make a whole 3-minute rotation? Can you kill them with a little bit of off burst damage instead and then go to the next one? Do you do like a really big boss? Do you do then a smaller one to get your cooldowns back and do you do a bigger one again, right? For Cannoneer, you never have to think about that. You just go in, you throw out a cannon. Oh, it's not enough? Throw in the second one. Oh, like you have a bunch of skills that all have between like 15 and 60-second cooldown. So you just rotate between all that shit and you just always have a whole bunch of things up. And you basically have a full burst every 90 seconds. So it's you just never have to think about it. And you have a 30-second cooldown iframe as well that, you have to think about it a little bit. And has good mobility, so you never get stuck. The main problem with Cannoneer is that the ID isn't the best, the crit rate isn't the best, and you kind of want the attack speed inner ability. So for a beginner account, like for a very new account, I wouldn't advise it. But if you're already, if you're going towards 6k Legion and above, and you have some link skills, then you can make that work. And I guess that's the marksman and the cannoneer. I would advise both of them, but they do really want the attack speed inner ability. So that's a little bit more upfront investment.
Okay, so attack speed for Cannoneer.
Yeah, you have the slowest attack speed in the game.
Marksman.
And marksman, yeah.
Right.
Marksman is the slowest
And
attack speed. Yeah.
I just realized something while watching your stream. How did you get your Legion grid to like not break with the fact that
there's a lab piece here. Has a different size. It's from old event. That's the only piece in the game that that is not connected literally. So yeah, this actually was Zelpix's idea. I just had it connect through the middle. But Zelpix said that, well, you're going to have one overflow anyway, so if you make the overflow go into buff duration, then at least it's doing something rather than being completely dead, so we do that instead. Because you got like attack, and then main stat, and then secondary stat already, and then you would have another one into a stat you wouldn't like right here, so now it's in buff duration instead, so it's really, really min-maxy.
Damn, so,
okay, how many is that on the list?
You're at 3-6, you're at 8? But I think you forgot Buck, because I know Buck's gonna be in there.
Yeah, Buck is on there for sure. Wait, so
we're at 9 then.
We have the 3 Thieves. We have Wind Archer, Dawn Warrior. We have.
Actually, no, never mind. Yeah, we're at 10 with Dawn Warrior, but my Dawn Warrior, I didn't put down because Dawn Warrior is my main already.
Buck and CM, and then we have you said the Marksman earlier, right? And I probably would do the Adele as well. I like the Adele.
True.
Yeah. And Hero, I think.
Plus my Adele can use my vac pad because Flora.
That's nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ice Lightning I said before. Yeah, Hoyoung is a bit too much. Lara is actually pretty good. I like Lara. I like Kane too. It'd be between all of the. Oh yeah, we said maybe Aaron. How many names is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, that brings you to like 14 or 15. So if you pick between those, I don't think you can go wrong. Subbook says Night Lord, Night Walker, Hero, Dawn Warrior, Marksman, Dark Knight, BM for sure. Yeah, people like BM a lot. I thought it wasn't too special.
Battle Mage?
No, Bowmaster.
Bowmaster. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. BM.
Yeah. Dark Knight is also not bad. It's also, well, not bad as like under, but it's good. And especially if you get the buff duration on it and you're like, you know, you like the Phantom playstyle of just iframing and ignoring everything, then, you know, Dark Knight's your class because they can definitely do that. Just die to the first attack in CPAP and then just ignore the whole rest of the fight.
Oh, Night Walker though. Is it really node hungry?
No, not anymore. It used to be, but now you can actually just for a boss meal you can get by with just one set of trinodes.
I was thinking of it because like I was like, hey, I'm probably gonna buy a vac pet whenever I can get one on my Dawn Warrior since it's a Cygnus Knight. So I was like, okay, I'll probably do like Night Walker, Wind Archer as boss mules as well. This way, when I farm with them as well, I can just profit out of that. So my list would probably be like Night Lord, Dual Blade, Shadower, Ice Lightning, Wind Archer, Aaron, Cannoneer, Buccaneer, Marksman, Adele, Lara, and Nightwalker. If I do all of that over the next, years.
Yeah, I would just start with as many as you feel you have time for, and then once you see you have time left in a week, then you just work on the next one, you know? Just don't invest in a character that and then afterwards you don't have time for it, because then it's like all your money is just gone, right?
Yeah.
The money
But I want to at least like bring them up to a level where I could trade for CRA and Lomin, because soon there's gonna be that 5% change.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if they'll be able to hit 5% right away. So hopefully.
Might have to be some struggle parties for a lot of people, and even then.
Yeah. And then even then, if the other people are struggling less than you are, and you're like 4%, well, you're kind of fucked. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that change. So. Sucks.
Yeah, it felt like that together with the Reboot EXP change. It felt like two changes that they just tried to slow down people's progress on Reboot because of the complaints of Korea. Which, it were things that if they kind of evenly did those over time, then it would probably have all been fine. But because it's so sudden and so much, then it just feels like a huge smack in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like earning the stuff on the characters itself for me, so it doesn't affect me as much, but I get it for people who are more seasonal or who just don't have as much time to play, that it's going to feel even slower and, feel even harder to progress in big steps. Good night, Subex. But to an extent, I think it's also just a paradigm shift, right? Like, like totems disappearing felt like insane. Like, when it was just announced, it was like, we're not going to be able to level anymore. But now everyone's just, kind of still leveling
over it,
and everyone is kind of still training because we adapt and we switch to the new situation very quickly. And it didn't go, everyone was kicking and screaming, getting dragged there, and nobody liked it. But we can always, many people even get almost the same rates now as they did then because of power creep, new areas, new training metas, all that stuff. So it's not going to be as, every single change. And I'm not saying that it's therefore a good change or something, but it's never as bad as people think it is, and a lot of times we end up around the same or sometimes even better than what seems initially as like a huge problematic thing. I think if it promotes people partying with others that are around their same level, I hope that we can get kind of away from the strongest piece of equipment I have is how good I am at the game. we can get away from that mentality, and we can get more like the strongest boss that I was able to fight with people around my level with the same level strength as me. That's how good I am at the game, you know?
Yeah, true. That's also a good thing.
Yeah. Sometimes slower is better, but it requires like a little bit of a paradigm shift to, because we've been saying faster is better, harder is better, you know, bigger number is better for so long now. So it's hard to shift that.
Yeah.
And that's Nexon's fault. So I mean, it's not not necessarily. Or the players who want that are the ones who like Maple, so they're here. So you know, Nexon kind of made those people come to their game, so it's normal that people respond that way.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
This
I hope
was really helpful.
You're welcome, and I hope everything works out great in The Shining.
Yeah, I'm gonna get everything in 22. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's just gonna go, you know.
Yeah, just send it. Just tap.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you keep loving the Dawn Warrior, and I'll see you around in chat.
Perfect. Have a nice one, man.
All right, you too. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Alrighty. So if you guys have a similar situation, or you had any questions that were answered by this session, you're very welcome. And if you have additional questions, of course, leave some comments. The winners for the free sessions of June have been drawn, and one is already planned in a few days, and then the other one has to reply on Discord. Check your Discord messages if you left comments. There were very few people who commented in June that they would like to win, so the people who got drawn for the videos had a very easy time winning. So if you like a chance of winning one of these sessions, make sure you leave a comment on the video with your Discord name saying that you would like to win, so you can get drawn for the July winners. If you don't want to wait that long, check the description of the video or use the Twitch chat over there. And use !mark coaching and see all of the great ways in which you can get to a situation like this with me and have help with your account. It's a complicated game. It's easy to get stuck, and together with me, it'll be very easy to get unstuck. So do that. Other than that, thank you for checking out the video. Appreciate that. I stream every day over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardor. You can find me there, and there you can also find all the other resources that I have in the form of calculators that are not mine, but you know, I link to files, spreadsheets, YouTube videos, interpretive dance, anything that can help you get a step closer to understanding what the hell is going on, why is my damage so bad, how can I make it gooder, you know, all of that good stuff. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for checking this one out, or I'll see you live on stream. I stream it every day, so don't be a stranger and come on down. Thanks for watching.